Hello, my name is Chase Gilly, and I will be doing a quick lesson on traffic patterns. There is definitely a lot more information on traffic patterns that I will be describing or prescribing for you today, but I'm just going to get through with the 10 minutes that I have. So, the first thing I'm going to start off with is why we have traffic patterns, and that is for safety. Pretty much everything we do as pilots is to be safe and not fly into each other, which is kind of a big deal. So as long as every pilot understands how the flow of a traffic pattern works and how to properly depart and arrive to an airfield, theoretically we should all be safe. And I say theoretically because at the end of the day we are human and we make mistakes. It's inevitable. There's nothing we could really do about it. So I'm going to start off just by kind of a few facts that you need to know. If you are a propeller-driven aircraft, which are most of the time are going to be small aircraft, then your traffic pattern is going to be 1,000 feet AGL. If you are a larger aircraft or a turbine, your traffic pattern is going to be 1,500 feet AGL. So they're just separating the big boys from the small guys. Here at our flight school, we have a Piper Dakota, so we are flying 1,000 feet AGL traffic patterns. There is non-standard and standard traffic patterns, and they are based off of what kind of turns you're making. So a standard would be a left traffic pattern is standard. We'd be making left turns. A non-standard traffic pattern would be a right pattern and making right turn. So today we're going to be talking about standard left turns coming in and out of Kilo Charlie November Whiskey or TSTC Waco. That's the example I'm going to use on the board behind me. This is the runways I've drawn up here. I have 35 left, 35 right. We have south, north, west, and east. 17 left, 17 right up top here. So that's just kind of the picture I painted. If you would like to follow along an airport diagram or anything like that, again, the airport identifier is Kilo Charlie November Whiskey. So let's go ahead and start with just the legs of a basic traffic pattern. So today we're going to demonstrate having southerly winds and we are going to be using runway 17 left today. So if we were to take off of 17 left with our southerly winds, we would have our upwind leg, our crosswind leg, our downwind leg, our base leg, and then final. So I'm going to go ahead and label those. We have upwind, spell that properly. We have crosswind, we have our downwind, our base leg, and our final. So a big, huge thing for traffic patterns is just to understand these legs to begin with. So again, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of show you how this would look if we were taking off from TSTC and just staying in the pattern. So what we would be starting on, our approach into the runway. We would fly, we would take off, we would fly our upwind. So being a piston-powered aircraft, we are going to fly 1,000 feet AGL patterns. So a proper pattern to be flown is you would fly your upwind until you get to 300 feet below your traffic pattern. So in this case, it's going to be 700 feet. Once you get to 700 feet AGL, you would turn your crosswind. You would fly your crosswind until you arrived at traffic pattern. So you would fly up to 700 feet to make a left-hand turn, fly another 300 feet, which would be traffic pattern, 1,000 feet. Once you reach traffic pattern, that's when you know to turn your downwind. So once you're on your downwind, most of the time that's when they require you to make a radio call, which could be as simple as TSTC, Skyhawk 95129er. It is a midfield left downwind for 17 left, which is exactly where we are right now. We are midfield on the downwind leg, arriving for 17 left here. We would continue to climb our downwind leg, and how I've been taught to turn my base leg is if you look at our airplane here, you can picture you sitting in here and you're flying along. If you can picture a 45-degree angle coming off of your wing and your fuselage, so coming straight out just like that. If you can kind of picture that sight picture, as you're flying your downwind, whenever your touchdown point, which in today's case is going to be the numbers right here, whenever you get a 45-degree angle, excuse me, see our numbers right here, where we want to land, and this is about a 45-degree angle from our airplane. That is when we turn our base leg. And final's pretty easy, you know what I'm saying? Turn and so that you are lined up with your center line on the runway. As you can see here, TACC has 2 parallel runways, so it is very important that you turn final properly. There's been times where students have overflown final, is what we like to call that, where they fly past their final and then turn, and then have to come back and rejoin their final leg. So that's just something to look out for. Again, from base to final, just turn whatever you deem necessary to line you up on your center line. So that is a standard left-hand traffic if you're going to take off from 17 left up here. Now I'm going to demonstrate a couple of departures and arrivals. And this is this all depends on whether you're in a controlled airport or a non-controlled airport. TACC is a Delta airspace with a control tower, so they are going to tell you what they want you to do when departing and leaving. An uncontrolled airspace is completely up to the pilot. If there's no tower, they're telling pilots what they should and shouldn't do. It's up to the pilot to deem exactly what they should do. So in this case scenario, if let's say we wanted to depart to then fly out to the east, so we would contact ground, they would give us our taxi instructions to get over to the runway, and then once we got to the runway, we'd call tower and let them know we're ready to go. So that would be as simple as TAC Tower, Skyhawk 95129ers, holding short of 17 left at whatever taxiway or runway, wherever you're at exactly. Ready to take off for an eastern departure. And then he's going to come back. He could say a few different things at this point, and it really all depends on how heavy traffic is that day. But a normal callback would just be as simple as Skyhawk 95129er, 17 left is clear to take off, proceed on course. So what that tells us is that we are cleared to take off and we're allowed to proceed on course. So basically all we really need to do is we would take off, we get to our traffic pattern of 1,000 feet, and then once we get to 1,000 feet, we would turn and do whatever it is we need to do. We can go straight to the east, and as long as we're out of the airspace, we don't need to talk to tower, and we don't need to really abide by anything he says, because we already have. And there's a couple different of departures. You could, depending on where you're going, you could potentially, if you wanted to depart to the north, they could give you a downwind departure, which would be as simple as taking off 17 left, flying your upwind, getting to that 700 feet, turning crosswind, getting to your 1,000 feet AGL traffic pattern, turning downwind, and then departing 45 degrees from the downwind. And then once we're clear of the traffic and the airspace, then we can do whatever we want. Go out to the practice area, do some maneuvers, or maybe you're just going straight up to Dallas and you fly straight up to Dallas. Whatever you need to do. Let's say we did do that first scenario, and we're out here in the east. We did all of our flight maneuvers, we did our practice for the day, and now we'd like to come back. TACC being a Delta, we do need to contact them before we enter their airspace. So that call could be as simple as TACC Tower, Skyhawk 95129er is 10 miles to the east with information Zulu, your weather, and inbound for the option. And what he's more than likely going to come back and tell you is he's going to say 95129er, please enter a left midfield downwind for 17 left, report entering midfield. Some airfields like TACC do not have radar, some of them do. So they will either tell you to report when you're entering midfield, just to let them know, hey, I'm here, do you see me? Or they're going to have radar and they're going to see the whole time. You're just going to be a little blimp. They're going to see the whole time. But at TACC, that was a non-radar environment, so we did have to report entering the traffic pattern. So what this would look like is if we were from the east and you told us to enter a left midfield downwind, we'd fly, maneuver ourselves a little bit south of it southeast so that we can enter the downwind at a 45-degree angle. It is very important. It's a little silly to come in, do a sharp 90-degree and blow right past your downwind. It's standard to enter at a 45-degree angle. So you'd come in, enter your 45, you would let them know, hey, TSC Tower, Skyhawk 95129 is a left midfield downwind. He'd say, okay, depending if there's people in front of you, let's just say there's no one in the traffic today, no one in the pattern. He's gonna go ahead and clear you right there to land on runway 17 left. You'd say 17 left, clear for landing. Once you got to your 45-degree beam point, you would turn your base leg. You would start that turn to where you level wings. You would start your turn so that when you do roll wings level, you are lined up with your center line. And then you would proceed to land. And with the option, that gives you exactly what it says. It gives you the option. You can continue to fly in the pattern, or you can go ahead and let them know when you're on the ground and say, hey, I wanna go ahead and call this a full stop. But that is all the time I have today. I hope you learned something about traffic patterns, and again, there is more information on traffic patterns. If you would like to do further research, the Airplane Flying Handbook Chapter 8, the AIM Chapter 4-3-3, and you'd definitely be able to learn a lot from that. So I appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a good day.